What do you think, buddy?
After a year in our new home, it's time to tackle our barren backyard. I want a garden full of life, and not just human life. We have plenty of that. I want to rewild. But I also want year-round interest, lots of bright color, plants that smell gorgeous, and plants that we can eat. But are there enough native plant species that fit the bill? And if so, isn't dictating exactly what I want and where I want it to go the total opposite of growing wild? Can you rewild such a small space? I have so many questions.
Wait, so...
Tallest in the middle, and then I want all the shorter ones circling around the tallest one.
That makes perfect sense.
We are deeply connected to nature. From old forests to rugged coastlines, the tiniest wonders and vast open spaces. It's where we come from and what we share with all living things. It's time to rediscover the wild. Between the North and South Mountains of Nova Scotia, the Annapolis Valley is characterized by lush farmland, fertile dykelands, and the beautiful but dwindling Acadian forest. Few people have had the chance to really experience an old-growth Acadian forest. But lucky for me, one of them lives here in Wolfville and has made it her life's work to bring that forest back, right in the center of town at the Harriet Irving Botanical Gardens.
I'm Melanie Priesnitz. I'm the conservation horticulturist here at the Harriet Irving Botanical Gardens. I am really a caretaker for the land, is what I get to do for a living, and I love that. I've been here 24 years, and I've been able to watch the forest grow around me. It's been something where we planted over 17,000 individual native plants in this area on just 6 acres. We've really come to a place where it feels like a natural walk in the woods, and it doesn't take very long to create a little bit of wildness in an urban space.
This is one of my favorite spots in the world. And you created it.
Really exciting to have Zoe here today to talk about rewilding and to learn a little bit more about this really special place and to learn about how Zoe as a homeowner can make a difference, how all of us can really make a difference towards rewilding. The Wabanaki Forest is a really special and unique, very rich in biodiversity forest region. It's a region that is Nova Scotia, Mi'kma'ki, New Brunswick, PEI, a little bit into Maine and New Hampshire and into Vermont. So it is a small forest region that is very at risk. It's listed by the World Wildlife Fund as an endangered entity, as an endangered species, this forest. We are trying to bring this piece of the land back to what it was. We're trying to recreate and rewild this space. And I think it's working if you look around.
You have actually made this bog, haven't you? The water source and everything?
We have, yes, but it's pretty challenging, I'm not gonna lie. The bog is one of our most challenging habitats. It's really hard to put a bog where a bog isn't. That being said, if you do have a really wet spot on your land, a lot of these same plants you can plant in those areas.
And I don't think I want a bog in the backyard. But I do have an area that collects moisture, where I need a French drain.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, we really need to look at our land and look to the natural habitats and say, you know, this is a wet area, this is a bog species, I have this wet spot, great, I can plant a bog aster, I can put cranberries in that area.
Okay.
You don't have to go as far as having a bog, but you can put the right plant in the right place.
Well, that takes care of my soggy patch, but now I need some seriously hardy, child-friendly, aromatic, and tasty native plants. But is this beyond the possibilities of rewilding?
Is there really that much of a variety of native plant species that I can choose from, you know, if I actually have an idea of what I want the garden to look like?
There's a myriad of plants that we can choose from. And the most important thing is to really recognize what it is that your soil is giving you. There's two ways to look at gardening. And in my home garden, for example, I have both. You know, I really do have some specific plants that I am selfish, I am a human. I will choose that because I love it. But then I will plant beside it a large patch of something else to give back to the natural world. I have so many favorite native plants that I'm excited to share them with you.
Oh, I love the asters.
They're beautiful and they're so important to pollinators. Look at everything in there. The color is so vibrant for humans as well. We love that. It's a really rewarding flower. We can change our minds a little bit to what is a tidy space and what is a healthy space. Sometimes people will see their backyard, it's full of leaves, and they'll say, oh, it's such a mess out there. Well, it's not a mess to all the creatures that are living in those piles. That mess is essential to those creatures. So we need to change our minds a bit to say, I'm okay with that because that is providing habitat. That is helping us sequester carbon. That is helping to make the world a better place. So we need to change our feelings on controlling our spaces a little bit. This is such a nice one. You need to smell this plant. This is one of my favorites. This is sweet fern. And it's not a fern at all. It's a shrub, but it is so aromatic. And I think it's one you should have in your yard.
Oh, I agree with you.
Know.
Oh, it's all sweet and like powdery.
A little bit spicy.
Yeah, yep. So where does it like to live?
So it grows in sort of sand barren habitats, neglected areas. Your backyard would be perfect.
I don't have sand, but I can do neglect.
It's a really forgiving plant. It's a really
Okay.
easy one.
So that should be right on the list.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with planting these native species and trying to tame them a little bit to fit in, but it's still rewilding.
It absolutely is.
It's beginning to sink in that my gardening desires aren't actually at odds with the idea of rewilding.
You can rewild without going totally wild. You can plant native species in a lovely hedgerow. You can prune it to a lovely square box. Let's take a look at the bayberries area. It's one of my favorite plants. It's salt tolerant, so it's really nice to plant beside your driveway or beside a walkway, beside a street. And it has these amazing berries. Now they're edible, maybe not to you and I. Great for cedar waxwings, the birds love them. You can see the seed.
There's the little seed, and it smells glorious.
So nice.
So
isn't it?
relaxing. So these would be berries for the birds. But do you have anything with edible berries?
Yeah, for humans. There are lots of edible berries that we have in the Wabanaki forests. Simple things like blueberries, high bush and low bush blueberries. They are wonderful to use in home landscapes. And if you have young kids, plant a blueberry. There's nothing more fun than going out and plucking the fruit from the shrub. And then we really hope that kids will gain a greater appreciation for our natural environment through those little interactions. If you can taste it, if you can smell it, that's where that spark ignites. That's where we get that love of our natural world.
That is totally the experience that I want to provide for my family.
You don't have to be a gardener to be a caretaker of this land, but the gardeners get to do it. It's in our job description, so how lucky am I?
Melanie has convinced me that all my backyard rewilding dreams are not only possible, but a great strategy. So how now do I turn those dreams into a reality? Well, Sam is here to walk me through it.
Otherwise, they will stretch, right? They need a good intensity.
Samuel Jean works with Melanie as the garden's conservation and education technician.
Ready? You can totally just rotate.
To say that he's passionate about native plant propagation is an understatement.
Here we see hard-leaved asters, eagle fern, large-leaved aster, Christmas fern, northern bush honeysuckle, zigzag goldenrod, sugar maple, broadleaf sedge, bloodroot, red trilliums, maidenhair fern, wild ginger, large settlement seal, beech, red spruce. Native plants are at the very base of most terrestrial food chains. They're very important. They give us many things as well. They produce or retain our topsoils, they filter fresh water, but they feed all of the pollinators that we know we need and love. Without them, we would not have all the birds that we enjoy having in our yards as well. And we just passed the beet hazelnut as well, with ostrich fern here, moose maple.
He's a dictionary.
Gardening with native plants to me feel like doing the right thing because it's easy to feel overwhelmed by everything that's happening, but I can't keep a polar bear in my backyard, but I'm able to plant a native oak, for example. Here's one of the first native plants people typically learn about when they embark on their native plant journey. This is swamp milkweed. So it's the host plant for the monarch butterfly.
Right. This is like the pollinator plant.
Exactly. And we've been lucky enough to have monarchs here in the gardens before.
So it works.
It works. It works. If you plant it, they will find it. They're great at that. We know this plant is important for the monarch, but all the native plants have specialized relationships like that. Many, many species rely on them. People are realizing that gardening can be more than just like an aesthetic hobby, you know, and not use plants only as ornaments, but for the function that they have in the ecosystem. Once people understand that, they kind of get quite passionate about it and want to add as many species as they can just to see what they can attract, basically.
There's so much yellow right now in the landscape.
Totally. So goldenrods and asters are blooming right now. There's some of them here, and they're very important for a suite of other insects.
Okay.
So they feed not only a couple, but 100 species will use the leaves of this to complete their life cycle. And native bees also rely on them quite heavily. So they're great to keep in our landscape.
And what about your neighbor who says, cut down the goldenrod, my allergies are driving me crazy?
Well, actually, that's a myth because the goldenrod pollen is very heavy and it's not carried by the wind. It is carried by pollinators as they visit the plant. The plant that is giving them allergies at the end of the season is called ragweed. And it's another native plant that's around, but it's not as showy. So people see the yellow and they assume that this is making them sick.
And it's the ragweed that's going under the radar.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm seeing them in a new light.
To me, rewilding is synonym of planting native plants, actually, just because you're changing the landscape in a way that will allow natural processes to happen again. We take a lot of space collectively. The least we can do, I think, is to give back a bit of space for nature to happen, and that's being done by planting native plants.
It's time to prep, protect, and propagate. Autumn is the time to collect seeds from so many different native plants. You just have to learn to spot them without their petals.
This one is blue flag iris. It is the provincial flower of the province of Quebec, and we see that the seeds are ready on it. These are the pods, and the seeds are quite large and easy to manipulate. Some of the seeds are already gone, and they are falling by themselves. You don't have to do much, so you know that they are ready. And they're also, they're hard and brown instead of green or white, which would indicate that they were not ripe yet.
And is it okay to be taking these?
I mean, yes, it is okay.
With you?
With me
Okay.
from the gardens, of course. But if you were doing this in the wild, for example, on private land, ask for permission before. Make sure your collection is legal too, right? You don't want to collect seeds from endangered species, for example. But for things that are common, like the blue flag iris, it's totally fine to pick a portion of the seeds. You always want to leave some behind.
Okay, great.
Yeah, let's have a look at one last species.
Okay.
And it's right here.
Cardinal flower.
Beautiful plant, especially if you're trying to attract hummingbirds in your landscape. This is one of their favorites, and it's likely the most striking plant in the Acadian forest region.
I'm seeing a little leftover red here, but what does it look like when it's in bloom?
Bright red flowers, on all these stems, and it's really beautiful. You'll see lots of hummingbirds and bumblebees visit this plant.
Okay.
And this plant starts blooming at the base, and then the flowers open going up. So when you're collecting, you want to start in the season with the ones that are at the base, because those seeds will be ready earlier. So if you just crush that little pod,
Yep.
the seeds will get
Oh,
released.
they're tiny.
Yeah.
Are those ones that we can plant too?
Totally. So let's go stratify them.
Stratify. What does stratify mean?
Okay, I've got some seeds now. But I'm still a long way from a native garden full of blooms, bees, and butterflies. And I refuse to let these precious specimens be added to the pile of unopened seed packets I have at home.
Everything we do here, the vast majority is from seed. Most of our native plant species require stratification in order to germinate. And that's a big word, but all it means is that they need to be exposed to winter-like conditions.
Winter-like conditions. Okay.
Exactly. They want to grow in early spring when they know they will have a long season to get established before winter.
Okay.
We're basically making winter conditions to tell the seeds that it's time to grow.
Okay, so how do we do that?
My favorite way of doing this is to put them in a Ziploc bag with a substrate. And that can be different things. It just means like soil to keep the moisture around the seeds. So you want to add about the same amount than there are seeds for like a volume. So just a pinch in that case. So we're going to add a bit of water to it, and I'm going to ask you to hold the bag actually, just to help me. So just a bit, doesn't need to be much. If you just want to mix it in there to make sure there's a film of water around those
so it's
seeds.
really not much at all.
Nope.
Is that enough?
Yep, you feel the moisture. It
Yep.
looks sticky, but there's no water pooling in the corner of the bag.
Oh, look at that. And you can see every seed.
The next step is to seal the bag and then label it. And after that, you're going to put that bag in the fridge.
In the fridge. Okay, that's where winter
Exactly,
happens.
exactly. They don't need to freeze. You don't want them in the freezer. You just want cold conditions. Around 4 Celsius is perfect.
So is there any scenario where I just have the seeds in the paper bag and I, forget about it all winter,
Yep.
and then I put them in the ground in the springtime,
Yep.
and it works?
For some species, yes. Asters, goldenrods, for example, and pearly everlasting don't need a cold moisture stratification. We could have just sprinkled the seeds at the surface of a pot with potting mix, and in the spring, it should start growing
Wow,
and
okay.
eventually look like this.
So would you do that with the smaller seeds from the cardinal flower?
Exactly. Yeah, we could, totally.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Look, you're covered in
That
them.
should be plenty. I'm just going to get rid of the pods. We're going to sprinkle them at the surface of the soil, and then we're going to mist that gently. Just a bit of water, set it outside. It's going to be exposed to the elements, and in the spring, when it's ready to go, it's going to start growing. And at some point, you're going to end up with this, a little pot full of plants.
Oh my gosh. Now that's a lot of plants. This is going to take a little bit of patience.
Of course, but if you're in a real rush, you can always buy a few from a nursery.
I think I might do that. Just a couple.
Of course.
Sam has equipped me to stratify and sow with confidence, and I will absolutely grow forth and multiply. But patience is also a part of this process, and I have a 6-year-old raring to garden. So I'm going to supplement seed stratification with some instant gratification. Tucked in the hills near Falmouth, Nova Scotia, the grounds of Baldwin Nurseries are truly a sight to behold. Rows and rows of gorgeous trees, stunning shrubs, and magnificent flowers. But what really excites me is that Baldwin specializes in native plants, grown from seeds and cuttings. Owner Susan Lawrence always has time for her visitors and is happy to share not only her vast knowledge, but also
Ooh, raspberries.
Help yourself.
Don't mind if I do. Yum.
I think the broader term of rewilding is taking some of the native species and placing them in your area, your garden, your yard. Instead of putting maybe a rhododendron that's developed in China, or if it's a European, to have something more local, something that'll do better, benefit the birds, easier to grow, but yet beautiful in the landscape. The interest in native plants has grown over the last 5-6 years. A lot of people coming in, young people, looking for native plants, and they want Nova Scotia native.
What's next, Susan? I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Today, Susan's showing me around the nursery and helping me supplement my growing collection of seeds with some more garden-ready specimens.
Oh, these are beautiful.
Aren't they, though?
Now, these are New England asters,
Yes.
but are they native?
They're a native aster, yes.
Now, that is good news for
It
my
is.
garden.
The bees will love you.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
are they okay full sun or shade?
They are.
Or,
Full sun and oftentimes poor soil.
well, I can give them poor soil.
Okay,
Great.
and then we'll
that's-
be happy.
That's on the list.
I think a beautiful garden has 12 months of interest. Something for spring, summer, fall, and winter. Nice balance. Different tiers, different layers, different heights, different textures, different colors.
And different scents. There's one plant I know I don't want to wait to propagate myself.
I'm going to bring out a sweet fern so you can get a closer look.
Oh, hello, sweet fern.
Yes. That is the plant.
So this is the one that smells gorgeous.
This is the one that smells gorgeous.
Does it maintain its leaves in the wintertime?
No, it will lose its foliage.
Okay,
And then regrow back in the spring.
that's perfect. This one will be my one small step. Then maybe I'll come back with a big truck.
We can get a lot in a small car. In my garden, my story is about memories. I have plants that I have carted around basically since grade 2. Now we have, this is beaked hazelnut on this shrub.
What?
The beaked hazelnut.
That does not look like a nut to me,
I
Susan.
know, that's why it's called beaked. It's got that little point.
Cool.
It's a beautiful shrub to incorporate into a landscape if you want a good, sturdy, native plant shrub.
But this one is not edible nuts.
This is an edible nut, yes.
Oh, it is.
Yes, indeed it is.
I didn't even think we had those here.
We do.
Oh my gosh, I just got a whole picture of a campfire and roasting nuts right off the tree.
I think it would be very happy in your backyard. Very happy.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
All right, so we're going to go in here, the fern house, and take a look at the Christmas fern.
This is a plant that I've wanted ever since we started imagining the garden. My kiddo is enchanted by the name, and I love the fact that it's an evergreen.
What's its growing habit?
Fairly slow growing. It likes the shade, kind of a mossy area, I find.
That actually is kind of perfect. Is it okay with dry soil?
It is. And when they're native, they tend to be more adaptable than something perhaps it's European or from Japan. It's a little particular to the growing conditions. This one's not. So
Okay.
it's nice. And again, you're giving back to nature.
Because I love gardening, but I can sometimes ignore my plants for a little while by accident.
Some can take being ignored. Some thrive on it.
Perfect. So that's everything.
That's everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Here's your receipt. There's my card.
Well, I cannot wait to get these in the ground.
Happy gardening.
Thanks,
Come again.
Susan. Oh, you know I will. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Here we go, babies.
Well, I'm happy with my choices, and super happy with Susan's recommendations. And being here in this glorious field of possibilities has got me incredibly excited to start gardening at last.
Push it back in, and you break it up with your fingers. Look, break it up, crack it up, so it's nice and loose. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. This plant is tough.
In gardening, as in life, there are limitless choices, but there's no point digging a hole until you know what you want to put in it. Rewilding such a small space in a suburban setting was only a dream to me until Melanie, Sam, and Susan showed me that it's not only possible, but an urgent necessity.
I want all people, everyone, to plant a tree. I want everyone to consider that in this little tiny province we have, there is way more clear-cutting happening and destroying of Acadian forest, springs, waterways, all over the place. Plant more, cut less. That's my hope, that's my outlook.
Kings County or Nova Scotia or Canada and even larger, you just see how much impact humans have been having. But conservation can still happen, and it can happen close to us. And our backyards are a great place where to start, just because you're going to see the benefits really quickly by bringing nature to you, by planting native plants.
I feel like we're in certainly a time of darkness environmentally right now. There's a lot of beauty on this planet too. You know, the trees have seen so much, and they will continue to see so much if we can remember to listen to them. You know, if we can remember to take care of them. That really is my hope. As humans, as animals of this forest, that we can remember we are a part of this ecosystem. It is our responsibility. We will give back to them, and they will hold us through.
Hey, check them out. What do you think?
It looks really, really pretty.
It's a start.